Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my DDD Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post Yu-Gi-Oh Soul Fusion. It's actually feels like I've been doing DDD deck profiles for quite some time now, and with the release of Soul Fusion, we finally got the rest of the DDD Fusion support that we never actually got. We received the Exceed and the Synchro in Code of the Duelist. The Fusion, I think, was like a jump promo special, so we never got that or the pendulum variant, but I thought I'd bring you guys a deck profile with the new support and more of a fusion focus on the deck as well, but still plenty of the synchro and exceed and just pendulum overall that you know that DDD is known for, just being able to get all the different summoning functions out. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, I run 3 DDD Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok, one of your main monsters in the deck, with its pendulum scale effect. If you special summon a DD monster except during the damage step, you can target one DD monster in your graveyard, and any battle damage your opponent takes becomes half for the rest of the turn. Also special summon the monster, and if you do, you take 1,000 damage. You can only use the effect of Abyss Ragnarok once per turn, and when it is normal or special summon, you can target one DDD monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use the effect of Abyss King Ragnarok once per turn. And once per turn, you contribute one other DD monster to target one monster your opponent controls, banishes it. So with Abyss King Ragnarok, you basically have your field set up for the monsters depending on what kind of play you want to go for. Its banish effect is also quite handy, and its attack stat and defense overall are very helpful as well, just if you need to sit on a pendulum monster. But most of the time, you want to make full use of your DDD Abyss King Ragnarok because he meets most of the requirements for all the cards in your extra deck. And I also run 3 DD Savant Thomas. Was thinking about bumping this card down to 2, just because you only really need the 2 in the deck to use its recycle power. For the pendulum scale, during your main phase, you can add one face-up DD pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. And you can target one DD card in your pendulum zone, destroy that card, and if you do, special summon one level 8 DDD from your deck in defense. But for the rest of this turn, if any effects are negated and any battle damage your opponent takes becomes half, and you can only use this effect once per turn. I usually just like to use Thomas for its add back effect, since we're limited now with how many cards we can obviously pendulum summon from the extra deck to the field. With it now helping, we can use plenty of cards from your hand just with that recycle, and it's also a level 8, so it works well if you have to go for any of like Exceed summons using Abyss King Ragnarok as well. And I also run 3 Savant Kepler. I usually just use Kepler for the monster effect, which is the main focus. When it's normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects. You could target one other DD card you control, return it to the hand, or add one Dark Contract from your deck to your hand. Most of the time, you just want to use it for the Dark Contract add, since you'll add your main spell searcher of the deck, which is Dark Contract with the Gate, which adds more monsters. So it just gives you more and more cards to work with for your plays. So definite 3 out for Kepler. It's not really that much of a risk for it to stay on the field anymore either, since with Link Summon, we have options to go into cards like Link Karibo with this card, and most of the time, if you need to use it for the scale, just remember it has that, minus scale effect that keeps going lower and lower, and you'll end up just be stuck with the lower scale. So most of the time, you just want to use it for the surge effect. Also, 3 DD Savant Copernicus. With this, when it's normal or special summon, you can send one DD or Dark Contract card from your deck to the graveyard, except for Savant Copernicus. You can only use the effect once per turn, but with it, you have plenty of graveyard setup, whether you're going for, Necro Slime or DD Lamia for some of those graveyard plays. So Copernicus just helps you set up those cards on the field, and if it's normal or special summon, so you have that benefit as well of it not only being a normal summoned effect. And I run 1 DDD Rebel King Leonidas. This is to finish off the pendulum monsters we run in the deck. Leonidas, I just like it as that option for helping you protect against your own burn from your DDD cards, or you just, effect damage in total. When you take effect damage, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, gain life points equal to the damage you took. And then basically the pendulum effect is when you take effect damage, except during the damage step, you could destroy this card. If you do, any effect damage that you would inflict to a player this turn increases their life points instead. So overall, with it and saying on the monster effect you take no effect damage, it's just great protection against that burn damage that you can high risk take with this deck. And since we are going for the big fusion plays with DDD Flame High King Genghis in this deck, I run 3 DD Vice Typhoon. This card came out in Code of the Duelist. It helps because it is a high-level DD monster. When it is normal summon, you can tribute 1 DD monster, special summon 1 level 7 DDD monster from your deck, and during your main phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can fusion summon 1 level 8 or higher DDD fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from the graveyard, including this card. You can only see each effect once per turn of Vice Typhoon. So the requirements for High King Genghis are 1 level 5 or higher DD monster plus 1 DD monster, meaning that you've basically got the one card you need here for that play to get that fusion card out. And then also you just have to remember also with Copernicus being able to send DD or Dark Contract card from your deck to the graveyard. You have that right available to you with this card being able to be sent. So most of the time you're just going to use it for the graveyard fusion effect anyway. And just for a little added fusion support, 3 DD Swirl Slime. This one just helps with fusion summoning from the hand, being able to send it in another DDD from your hand to the graveyard to fusion summon a DDD, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 DD monster from your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. So if you have some of the big monsters in your hand and no means to pendulum summon, Swirl Slime from the grave for the banish effect definitely does come in handy for easy special summons. And then another additional one from the graveyard is 3 DD Necro Slime. If it's in your graveyard, you can fusion summon 1 DD fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your graveyard, including this card. You can only use the effect once per turn. So if you send this card with Swirl Slime to the graveyard, you basically get the fusion summon there. But then if you need like that other fusion summon, we're kind of limited with the extra deck plays, but obviously you have plenty of ways to get link monsters out, so plenty of link arrows, and you're able to get the multiple fusions. It's a different powerful play that you can make work in the deck. And I also run 3 DD Lamia with this one. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send 1 DD or Dark Contract card from your hand or face up from the field to the graveyard, except for Lamia, to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can use the effect of DD Lamia once per turn. So it's a tuner that you run in the deck. It helps just for a lot of your different synchro plays that you might want to go for with all of your DD options available to you, depending on which ones you wanted to. Most of the time, you want to benefit from like your smaller Genghis play to get out Lamia with a special summon, then make Alexander, and then special Lamia back to the field, and then use the Alexander and the Lamia to make your big powered Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is one of your main synchros you want to get out in this deck. And lastly, for the DDD monsters, 1 DD Ghost. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 DD monster or Dark Contract card in your graveyard, except for Ghosts. Send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard with that name, and if this card is banished, you can target 1 of your banished DD monsters or Dark Contracts, except for Ghosts, return it to the graveyard. So it's just good, consistent reuse of cards with Ghosts. Easy to get into the graveyard if you're going to use your fusion plays as well. Just one of it, though. You don't really need many more for the recycle, since you only have to do it, I think, 1 after you use its banish effect. And lastly, just 2 Effect Veiler to finish off the monster lineup. This could be any hand trap you want. It could be Ghost Ogre, Ash, you name it. Just one more spot to fill in with additional assistance for the deck. Plus, just running an additional backup tuner to Lamia definitely does help. But most of the time, it's just there to stop a lot of pesky monster effects that might go off. And moving on to the spells, I run 3 Dark Contract with the Gate. During your main phase, you can add 1 DD monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Dark Contract with the Gate once per turn, and once per turn during your standby, take 1,000 points of damage. So with it, if you have Leonidas, obviously you can prevent this damage from really hurting you too much, but the search effect is just overall, good. Being able to grab what DDD you need for your play, whether it be for a fusion, a synchro, you name it. You definitely need 3 Dark Contract with the Gates in the deck. And also 1 Dark Contract with the Swamp King. This is a card that just helps for fusioning. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 Fiend type fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. You can only use the effect of the Swamp King once per turn. In a fusion summon a DD fusion monster this way, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard. And once per turn, you also take the 1,000 points of damage. Just one of, though. You can search it out with Kepler. You don't really need the multiples. It's not as important as searching out with Dark Contract with the Gate, since you have other methods for your fusion summoning. It's just good to have that 1 spell backup in the deck for sure. And I also run 1/1-for-1. This is for Kepler, Lamia, you name it. It's just easy special summon. And then when your DD monsters are in the graveyard, you can just benefit more from them. So 1/1 is a definite in the deck. I also run 3 Allure of Darkness, plenty of dark monsters in this deck for draw power consistency, so this card just helps get through cards you might need more of if there's like another inconsistent one in your hand based off of that. And also 2 Pot of Desires. You're running 3 of plenty of the cards in the deck, so just more draw power with your Allure of Darkness definitely does come in handy. With the banish you get from the Desired, there's not really anything that you can banish that would kill your plays entirely. Not like you need one card to make all the plays work. If you banish all your Abyss King Ragnaroks, you still have like the Slimes and the Necro Slimes to go off of, so you definitely would benefit more from the +2. And one more pot card I run is Pot of Acquisitiveness. With this, you target 3 of your banished monsters, shuffle all 3 into the deck, then draw 1 card. You can only activate 1 Pot of Acquisitiveness once per turn. Definitely comes in handy when you're using up your Squirrel Slimes, from the graveyard, banishing them with your Necro Slimes, you name it, putting them back and then being able to reuse them again in the deck definitely does come in handy. And then lastly, for the main deck, just 1 Dark Contract with the Witch. It is a pop card. You can send 1 DD or Dark Contract card from your hand to the graveyard, then target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can only use the effect of Dark Contract with the Witch once per turn. And all Fiend-type monsters you control gain 1,000 attack during your opponent's turn. And each standby phase, you take 1,000 points of damage. So it's a power boost card, plus being able to take care of pesky cards, being searchable since it's a Dark Contract as well. Definitely does come in handy. So just the one trap I like to run in those situations with this deck. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra. I run 2 DDD Flame High King Genghis. With this card, you need 1 level 5 or higher DD monster and 1 DD monster to make this card. So not really the most difficult with the lineup we're running in the deck. And if another DDD is normal or special summoned to your field while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can target 1 DD monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use the effect of DDD Flame High King Genghis once per turn, and once per turn when a spell or trap card is activated, it is a quick effect, you can negate the activation. So it's a very powerful fusion monster. I think I like Genghis more than High King Alexander and High King Wave Caesar. Just for the consistency and how much easier it is to fusion summon with this deck. So it's a definite need, and I'm glad we finally got it to use with the deck overall. I also run 2 of the smaller Flame High King Genghis with this one. Just another special summon option. Like I said, he's a key card to assisting with the Crystal Wing summon, being able to get Lamia out, then Alexander, and then Lamia back to the field, and then Crystal Wing. So 2 of these just for additional special summons, whether it be for DDD monsters or just anything else access to your extra deck. And I run 1 Oracle King to Arc. This card just helps where any damage that would inflict to you is you gained instead. If you can't get to Leonidas, just a good backup option instead. And I also run 1 DDD Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. It's just another powerful fusion for being able to take your opponent's monsters and then just being an overall heavy beater in total. And then I also run 1 of the new DDD Super Doom King Purple Armageddon. You need 2 DDD monsters to make this, and you can target 1 attack position monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack, you can only use the effect of Super Doom King Purple Armageddon once per turn. And before damage calc, if an opponent's monster battles, you can make its attack become equal to its original attack until the end of damage step. And if this card is in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place them in your pendulum zone. So another good option with the pendulum effect. I like it for the attacking destruction burn. It definitely does come in handy. Plus, it's very easy to make in this deck, just needing the 2 DDD monsters to fuse into it. And I also run 1 DD Gus King Alexander. You need Alexander just to help and assist with the Crystal Wing play, so 1 of that in the deck. 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst, another easy synchro to make, and then getting special summons from your Pendulum Scale just helps with your monster consistency also. And 1 Crystal Wing for the additional assistance with the Powerhouse play with Alexander. And then for the Exceeds, I run 1 DDD Duo King Kali Yuga and 1 number 38 Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger is great for the lockdown, and Kali Yuga is great for the destruction, spell or traps on the field. And then for the Link monsters, I run 1 Wee Witch, having plenty of dark monsters in the deck to use. This one definitely helps with her arrows, getting more extra deck monsters out. 1 Link Karibo with all the level 1s like Kepler we run. This one definitely does come in handy. And Zephyr Metaltron with all these arrows, and all you need is extra deck monsters. If you can get plenty of them out and then have, some of the other link monsters on the field. If you have one special summon one pointing to it and you special summon Metaltron, you can just have more options to go to from your extra deck using that card. If you wanted to run Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon and Vortex Dragon with that combo in the deck, since we have the Meteor Burst as well, I'd recommend taking out maybe either the Caesar Ragnarok and the Kali Yuga, since you just have the Hope Harbinger to go into for your Exceeds, and you have, like I said, more powerful fusions now to go into maybe instead of the Caesar Ragnarok. But that's more just player preference if that ever does come up. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely was excited to be able to build DDDs again for you guys. I think we're just missing a couple, if any, more cards for the support, but hopefully we get those later down the line as well. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until then, Kira Twig out.